in society, and he's gathered together some of the more interesting failures. Now, these are all true. We took them out of the book. The biggest bankruptcy on record with British bankruptcy was made in 1978 by Mr. William Stren. The 43-year-old property dealer's assets totaled $20,000. His liabilities were in excess of $200 million. That's a bad businessman. The least successful safety film. True. Apparently, most of these happened in England. The official handbook of the Not Terribly Good Club of Great Britain. In 1976, the British Aircraft Corporation showed a film on the dangers of not wearing protective goggles to its employees. It was so horrible that 13 employees had to be attended to by nurses. Apparently, it was so graphic. The least successful animal rescue. In 1978, an elderly woman in London, England, called the fire department to get her cat down from a tree. They arrived and quickly rescued the cat. The woman was so pleased, she invited them in for tea. Driving away from her house, the fireman ran over the cat and killed it. Few people find tragedy amusing, obviously. Now, do you remember in 1977, this was called The Worst Tourist? The least successful tourist on record is Mr. Nicholas Scotti of San Francisco. You'll remember this. In 1977, he flew from California to his native Italy to visit relatives. And en route, the plane made a 1-hour fuel stop at Kennedy Airport. Remember what happened? Thinking he'd arrived, Mr. Scotti got out and spent 2 days in New York believing he was in Rome. I remember it. It was absolutely true. He noticed that many people spoke English with a distinct American accent, but he just assumed that Americans were everywhere in Rome. And he spoke very little English himself and asked a policeman in Italian on the way to the bus depot. As chance would have it, the policeman came from Naples, asked him, and this man spent 2 days in New York. Remember, he made the headlines there, and they finally got him to Rome. Let's see, the least successful hidden camera. Attempting to catch a persistent thief in 1978, the Doncaster, England police set up a hidden camera in the locker rooms of a local athletic club. When they played back the film, the police found all they had succeeded in filming was one of their own policemen wandering around naked looking for his clothes, which had been stolen. The worst hijacker. These are true. On a flight across the United States in 1976, a man rose from his seat, drew a gun, and told the stewardess, "Take me to Detroit." "We are already going to Detroit," she replied. "Oh, good," he said, and sat back down. We're going. Oh, good. Here's one called The Worst Mirror. In 1974, Senor Jose del Cue resigned as mayor of a small town in Mexico, feeling that his record in office was poor. This decision was reached with the help of 400 local voters who stormed the town hall, seized the mayor, and forced him to eat 12 pounds of bananas before he signed his resignation. Anyway, those are some of the book of failures, called the Incomplete Book of Failures.
You know, it's amazing with all the time you've had with the Burt Parks Hue and Cry that you've had time to do that. Mm-hmm. I love these books.
Yeah, I know you do.
Cover to cover, it's all there, boy. You read this and you've got it. Every failure in the world you'd ever want to know is in this book.
You're wrong, Edsel Exhaust Breath. We have...
There's yet more?
We had some. We had our staff dig around. This guy didn't. Some of these are in this country. He only covered Great Britain. The worst cosmetic surgeon was Dr. F.R. Flemmel, the man who bobbed Carl Malden's nose. The worst circus was Dangling Brothers. To show you how bad it was a very small circus. The main sideshow attraction was the Bearded Man. It just was not a big circus. The worst candidate for the American national anthem was written by Arwen McCarley. It was entitled, "Oh, say, ain't this a lot better than living in some other country with a bunch of smelly foreigners?" The worst psychiatrist ever recorded that we could unearth was Dr. Sigmund Sigmund. Dr. Sigmund drove depressed patients halfway across the Golden Gate Bridge and merely corrected the spelling in their suicide notes. The worst birth control device was introduced in 1977, a woman's negligee made out of old odor eaters. The most incompetent federal judge was the Honorable Horace A. Bletchmeyer. He ordered that kids stay where they are, but that their school buildings be bust. The least successful magazine was called Pasadena Pervert. It was a hobby magazine for men who liked to hang from the Goodyear blimp and flash the Rose Bowl. The least virginal bride was Yolanda Maxie Bush. That's right. At her wedding, Yolanda carried a bouquet of batteries. The worst bumper sticker manufacturer was Simon Machong. He only manufactured one bumper sticker. It read, "Honk if you love the Ayatollah." And he went Okay. We'll be back in for just a moment.